Hey, I'm Johnny Palmer and this is my 2024 Wipe video. In this video I talk about all the investments, the projects and the activism I've been working on throughout the year, as well as what might be happening next year. And I want to start this year's video with my favourite place in the whole of the UK, Whalley Weir. I've always loved rivers, and many years ago I bought this land to make it accessible for people to use and also to try and use it as a way of cleaning up the rivers. This year in 2024 we had an election, and it was a delight to see that river quality and access to rivers was a major election theme. Now, while this is a small little project down here, I like to think that the work that me and many other activists have been doing over the last 6-7 years has changed that narrative, and that this government, hopefully, is going to help clean up our rivers and make more waterways accessible for more people. Prior to me owning the land down at Whalley, it was pasture land where cows would eat the grass to make beef. And when I bought it, people were saying, you should rewild it. Now, rewilding in the UK generally means leave land to do its own thing and see what happens, because that's better for nature, better for conservation, better for biodiversity. Well, in 2024, that's exactly what I've done, and I can show you what happens. I'm no ecologist, but what I've learned is that cattle tend to pull out taller plants as they graze, and that gives more sunlight to get down to more smaller plant life underneath. Now, since we've rewilded at Whalley and there's no cows pulling up those big plants, we've had more dominant species come through, specifically hemlock and cow parsley, both of which are quite poisonous. They also tend to dominate the land in a way that makes it not so good for human habitat. That's important to me because people need to be able to use this land. So, moving forward, we're going to top, that's basically industrial mowing, the south side of the island and leave the north side of the island. So we have human habitat, more biodiversity, and we also get to do the experiment of seeing what happens when we do leave a big area to rewild. There's a Chinese saying that the best day to plant a tree is 20 years ago and the second best day is today. Well, I'm pleased to say that about 7 years ago, me and some friends planted all these trees: hawthorns, alders, oaks and willows. And this year is the first year I've really felt it's becoming something of a woodland. I'm really proud of that. There's an extra benefit too, is that when the river floods and this island's underwater, it acts as a giant sieve. So all the filth and garbage we'll throw in the river upstream gets caught in the trees and we can pick it out and use it as a giant river cleanup. This is One Skyline Park, and it's a flagship premises on the Skyline Park Industrial Estate and the home of pitch. Not a great deal's happened here in the last year because we've finished everything, except we've opened a small cafe across the yard there. Now, that was originally made for a customer who needed it for an event in summer, but it's actually the first stage in a major new development called Ground Force, which might involve another aeroplane. Keep your eyes peeled in the planning portal and you'll see an application coming out soon. What has changed though is that I've entered into an agreement for Pitch to be acquired by another company. The acquirer is called Premier Events. They're a great bunch, similar culture but quite a lot larger than Pitch. They're based in Leicester and they're taking on brands, clients, a bunch of gear and some staff. That means that this facility at Skyline Park is going to be available for lease come around February, maybe March 2025. If you're interested in a really high-spec tech facility, please get in contact. The staff from Pitch are off doing all sorts of interesting stuff. Some are staying in other group companies, some are moving on, some are going freelance, and I'm doing everything I can to support them in the next step in their career journeys. We're also going to be disposing of a lot of excess equipment, sound, lighting, rigging, staging, and so on. That stuff's going to be sold throughout January, February, and possibly into March. If you're interested, please do get in contact. All that said, there is actually one thing that's changed quite a lot at Skyline Park, and that involves the aeroplane that you might have seen in previous videos. If this is the first time you've seen my wipe, or you've not worked with me or met me before, you might not know about this thing. This is my Boeing 727-100 series. I bought it a few years ago, transported it down the motorway, which it blocked, and then stuck it on some containers using cranes. And this year, we've added a few new features to it, which I'd like to show you now. Come on through. As you might know, I'm quite into upcycling, getting old things that were being discarded and turn them into something better, like the aeroplane itself. But we've added an outdoor shower, which is upcycled from a residential property I did up, a sauna, which I scored from a health centre that was closing down, and a hot tub, which was bought off Facebook Marketplace for not very much. So if you're interested in a pretty interesting venue for a meeting or an event, have a look online and you could rent this private jet. The story of swimming in Bristol Harbour continues, and this year was the second year in a row where all aboard water sports have run a commercial swimming operation. I'm super proud of this because it started from a place of conflict and activism when we decided we wanted to get swimming in our harbour. Eventually the council got on board and now it's being run consistently, and I'm hearing they're going to continue into 2025, which is a great success story and I'm super proud of that. Across the other side of town is my other development, the stables at Lee Court. I bought this property about 3 years ago, and it's taken that long to fully refurb it and get it reoccupied by new tenants. These range from wealth advisors to a health spa to hair loss treatment to marketing companies. It's a really great place to work, and if you're interested in the space, please register your interest, because when space becomes available, I can reach out to you. So 2024, while I haven't made massive lumpy progress, I have done a lot of consolidation, getting pitched to the point that it can be sold, which I've now done. And that means that 2025 can be really exciting. I've got my next aeroplane development, more work on the domes. I really want to get DB Cooper performing as a brand, also making more property investments and more developments. But being honest, the last 25 years of my life has always been focused on investing and building and being really, really vigilant about creating something. Alongside that, there's always been things coming at me constantly, operational matters. And I want to clear all that stuff and diminish it a little bit so I can just be a bit more calmer, a bit more relaxed, a bit more peaceful. And that's what I'm going to focus on in 2025, alongside these projects that I love doing. So if you've got another project you'd like me to get involved in on a sort of soft level, please get in contact. I'd love to hear from you. But overall, 2024 has been a big jump forward, and 2025 hopefully will be a bit calmer.